Social control. Yay. You guys, homeschooling my kids while trying to do this is something else. So we're going to talk about social control, and that'll be the last video I post for today. But social control is at the end of chapter 11. It's actually a really cool subject. We have a class that we teach on it occasionally in our department on this topic. It's taught in sociology as well. It's a really popular subject. Essentially, what social control is it's the study of societal institutions and mechanisms that are put in place to guide, inform, and eliminate certain behaviors. So, the criminal justice system is an example, probably the best example, of a social institution of social control. It is an institution that's put in place by society that is supposed to incentivize certain behavior and disincentivize other behaviors. It's supposed to control our behavior. When you're driving down the road and you're running late for something, and it would probably behoove you to go 80 miles an hour to get there, you don't, because there are rules in place. Now, you might speed a little bit, but you're not going to go haywire because there's a system in place to control our behavior. And that's what social control is supposed to do. Now, there's an element of social control that looks at the utilization or the use of these mechanisms of control against groups that are marginalized or are not in power, or that the government might have a use of controlling. So one of the ways that the criminal justice system is examined as a mechanism of social control is how it disproportionately affects groups of minority status, communities of color, and individuals of color. And in the slideshow, you can see there's actually a chart that demonstrates this. The criminal justice system disproportionately brings people into the system that are not because they're necessarily more criminal or not because they participate in criminal behavior more, but because of kind of a social stigma that has been attached to certain groups of people over time. And so the criminal justice system can be viewed as a mechanism of control for particular groups of people more so than for other groups of people. Drug crime is a really great example of this. All of the research shows that drug crime, or that drug use, I should say, is really proportional to our groups in society if you look at race. In fact, white individuals are more likely to use drugs and they're more likely to sell drugs than their proportion in society. So if there's any disproportionality to drug sales and drug use, it's actually among the Caucasian population in the United States. But if you look at arrest statistics and incarceration statistics for those that get caught for drug use and drug selling, it shows paints a very different picture. It shows that communities of color and individuals of color are far more likely to use and to sell if you just look at the official statistics from the criminal justice system. And this kind of goes to illustrate this point of social control. Generally speaking, it's the study of those systems in place to kind of inform behavior and to guide behavior and restrict behavior. But if we look at it from the standpoint of whose behavior are we trying to restrict, is it used equally or proportionally? If not, why? That leads us down this path of how social control is looked at oftentimes within sociology and criminology. So in the book, it gives some examples of why social control is something that we should study. But it really is a thought-provoking thing. You can look through the slides on your own and kind of take a look at that. But asking why certain mechanisms of control work in the way that they do, why they potentially target certain populations, and who that benefits, those types of questions tend to inform kind of contemporary and modern studies of social control. So I will be back next week with some more supplemental videos. Let me know if you have any questions about anything.